Okay, so hey there, everyone. Welcome to our lesson today. Where we're going to focus on the essential skills for reading and the effective approach to write a very good essay. So, before we start, I would like to know if you can hear me. So, if you can, please type yes. So, if you can hear me, please type yes, and then we can start this session. So, I hope you guys can hear me. So remember, guys, in case you can't hear me, refresh the browser. Okay, so refresh the browser if you can't hear me. So the lesson is going to be rather interactive. So I'll be asking questions. And when you want to answer, make sure to type your answers. That will be important. So you can type your answers in the chat. And in case you have questions, you can ask those questions at the end. So I see that everything is fine. Everything is okay with the sound. So once again, guys, welcome to our session. My name is Nash Akhtar. I'm a certified IELTS trainer. I used to be a director of an official IELTS testing center and also a co-founder of Master IELTS. So I have been preparing students for the past 10 years. So I started my career as an IELTS trainer. Then I became an official IELTS administrator. So I've been involved in conducting the IELTS exam in Russia. Then also I have trained many teachers to become certified IELTS trainers. So today, guys, our main goal is to understand the essential skills for reading and also how to write a very good essay. So how you should structure your essays. So before we start, I would like to know each one of you. So could you please introduce yourself? For example, why do you need IELTS? Is it for university admission? Maybe you want to migrate to another country? And also would like to know the required score, whether you need a band 6, 6.5, 7. And also, when are you plan to take the exam? Are you plan to take this exam this year? Maybe end of this year, maybe next year. So would like to know your plans related to IELTS. So could you please introduce yourself? Like, why do you need IELTS? The required score, and when are you plan to take the exam? And yes, by the way, do you need academic IELTS or general IELTS? Great. So I see that people are typing. Uh-huh. So take some time. Okay, let's get to know each other. So it would be really nice if you could introduce yourself and tell me why do you need IELTS, the required score, and when are you plan to take this exam? So while you're typing, remember that today we're going to focus on IELTS reading and writing. When it comes to reading, I'm going to teach you the 4 essential skills step by step, and I'm pretty sure you will find it useful. Great. Okay, so I see that's a lot of typing because too many questions. Uh-huh. Great. Fine. So guys, yes, why do you need IELTS? The purpose, the required score, when I plan to take the exam, and are you plan to take academic IELTS, general IELTS, maybe UKVI? If you're planning to move to the UK, then of course it should be UKVI. And by the way, UKVI is just for the United Kingdom, but the format is the same. So it could be UKVI academic or UKVI general. Okay, so I need IELTS academic for master degree in political science. I'm going to have exams perhaps on this October or November. Okay, that's great. Any idea about the required score? Great, guys. So I see that you all are typing, and well done. So thank you for the introduction. So I'm going to slowly move on to the reading section. So remember, like today, we're going to focus on two specific sections, reading and writing. So let's get to know IELTS reading. Now remember, in IELTS, we have 4 sections. We have listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Now, quite often, students find reading a bit challenging, and there are many reasons for that. So that's why I've decided to kind of focus on reading and writing. So speaking about IELTS reading, remember, it's going to be the second section. So first you will have listening, and then you will have reading. And it's going to be for 60 minutes. And for IELTS reading, there will be 3 passages. The first will be the easiest. The second will be more complex, and the last will be the most complex. So that means the first one is going to be the easiest passage, then the second one becomes slightly more challenging, and the third one is considered to be the most challenging. Now, this is academic reading, but if you look at general reading, you're going to have 3 sections. So for the first section, you'll have 2 small texts. For the second section, the same. But for the third section, it's going to be 1 long passage, which is a bit similar to academic reading. So for IELTS reading, altogether, you will have 40 questions. So it doesn't matter whether you're taking academic IELTS or general IELTS, you will have 40 questions. And remember, guys, for every passage, you will have maybe 12 to 14 questions. Now, that depends. So for each passage, for each section, you will have 12 to 14 questions. So the reading test will be the second test in the IELTS exam, which I've already mentioned. So I also see that people are typing. They're introducing themselves. So that's great. Academic for the university admission. Great. So yes, usually if you're planning to enter a foreign university, the required score ranges between 6, 6.5 and 7, 7.5. So that's the usual range. Sometimes there could be specific requirements. So thanks for sharing, guys. Fine, let's move on. So now we have an idea about the reading section. Now, based on that, please pay attention to this time management formula. Now, I've already mentioned that the first passage is the easiest. The second passage becomes more challenging, or let's say more difficult than the first passage. And the third passage is the most difficult. So that's why spend 15 minutes on the first passage, 20 minutes on the second passage, and 25 minutes on the third passage. So remember the time management formula. It is crucial. So 15, 20, 25. Why? Because I've already mentioned that the third passage is the most challenging. So it is logical to spend most of the time on the third passage, right? Quite often, I hear students say that I didn't have time to answer the last 4 to 5 questions. Now, that happens because they manage their time poorly. So once again, 15, 20, 25. So if you are an IELTS trainer, and I would say any certified IELTS trainer should know, and if you really want to know whether the person who's going to teach you has an idea about the time management formula, then they are professional IELTS trainers, because these are official guidelines. So don't think that it is my tip or a strategy. So always remember that you allocate most of the time for the third passage. So that's a very important point. Now, also, guys, when you prepare for the reading part, especially during the latter stage or during the last stage of your preparation, you need to understand whether you're managing your time effectively at home before you take the exam. So whether you're able to answer all the questions from the first passage within 15 minutes, and for the second passage within 20 minutes, and for the third passage within 25 minutes. So try to be aware of this formula. I'm pretty sure you will find it useful. Fine. Now, with that said, we need to understand the 4 essential skills. Now, when it comes to IELTS reading, we have skimming, scanning, paraphrasing, and identifying the keywords. Now, these are very important skills if you want to succeed in IELTS reading. So please keep this in mind. Skimming means to read quickly and understand the general information. Scanning means locating specific information. Paraphrasing means expressing the meaning by using different words. And identifying keywords would be important when you read questions, because when you read questions, you need to identify the words which are important for us to understand the question better. Okay, so please make sure that you are aware of the 4 essential skills: skimming, scanning, paraphrasing, and identifying the keywords. Okay, so these are the 4 essential skills you need to know. Now, what you need to understand is that you are not supposed to read. You are not supposed to read the whole passage word by word. You never do that. So you have to either read quickly and understand the general idea, or you try to find specific information. That's why scanning is important. You need to kind of paraphrase or rephrase the statement. I'll show you that today. And also when you read questions, you need to read those questions carefully. So that's why, guys, I would say that this session is going to be an enlightening session, because once you're aware of the 4 essential skills, you need to become familiar with the question types and then how to approach those question types. Fine. So now let's move on. I've already mentioned the 4 strategies. So let's try to understand each and every skill. Okay. So first, let's focus on how to skim read a paragraph. Look at the exam tip. It says, you have limited time to take the IELTS exam, so read only what you need to know in order to do the task. It is a good idea to read the first sentence of a short paragraph only. In longer paragraphs, read the first and last sentence. This technique is called skim reading. Now, the real definition of skim reading is to read quickly and understand the general idea. But of course, practically, we are not able to read every word quickly. We won't be able to understand the idea, right? So that's why a very good approach would be to understand the paragraph structure and implement a particular strategy. So that's why here we say, in order to skim read a paragraph, you can read the first and the last sentence. Don't read all the sentences, just read the first and the last sentence. But if you have a short paragraph, you can read only the first sentence. Why? Now you might wonder why, right? So the answer for that is that usually if you look at a paragraph, you'll always have the general idea at the beginning. You'll always have the general idea at the beginning, which we call as the topic sentence. And then, guys, the paragraph becomes more specific with reasons and examples. You see, so the paragraph becomes more specific with reasons and examples. You see, so the topic sentence becomes the general idea. It will always have the main idea. The first sentence of the paragraph would have the main idea, and then the whole paragraph would reflect that. So that being said, let's move on to the task. What I want you all to do now, guys, is that I want you all to read only the first sentence of this paragraph. Okay, so just read the first sentence of the paragraph and the last sentence. Okay, so read the first sentence and the last sentence. And based on the first and the last sentence, choose the correct heading. Now, there are 3 options here. I want you all to choose the correct heading, okay? So the first sentence says, since the beginning, trees have furnished us with 2 of life's essentials, food and oxygen. Okay, since the beginning, trees have furnished us with 2 of life's essentials, food and oxygen. That means from the beginning, trees have provided us 2 essentials, food and oxygen. Today, their value continues to increase. and more benefits of trees are being discovered as their role expands to satisfy the needs created by our modern lifestyles. So today, their value continues to increase, and more benefits of trees are being discovered as their role expands to satisfy the needs created by our modern lifestyles. So with these two sentences, can you choose the correct heading? Is it A, is it B, or is it C? What is the most suitable heading here? Is it A, is it B, or is it C? A says everyday and unexpected human needs met by trees. B says the changing value of trees with the development of human civilization. And C says the persistence of trees in the human memory. The persistence of trees in the human memory. Now look at those two sentences, the first and the last sentence, and based on that, can you choose the correct heading? What heading is suitable for this paragraph? Well done. So I see the answers coming. Well done. Very good. Very good. Yes, exactly. The correct answer is B. The correct answer is B. Why? Once again, the topic sentence, the first sentence says, since the beginning, trees have furnished. Furnished means trees have provided or they have given us two of life's essentials, food and oxygen. Today, their value continues to increase. They're becoming even more valuable, and more benefits of trees are being discovered as their role expands to satisfy the needs created by our modern lifestyles. And as you can see, B says the changing value of trees, with the development of human civilization. So human civilization means their role expands to satisfy the needs created by our modern lifestyle. So modern lifestyle, human civilization, so you see these are like, similar phrases. So that's why I said paraphrasing is important. So well done. And as you can see, we did not read the whole paragraph. Even if you did, remember, it's not necessary. You just need to go with this technique. Now, this is not my strategy. This is not my technique. These are the official guidelines. These are the official guidelines. Now, with that said, let's move on to matching headings, okay? So there are certain steps you need to follow when you have to match headings with paragraphs, okay? So that's why, guys, if you want to achieve a band 9, now we've had so many students who have achieved a band 9 in IELTS reading. And all what they did was learning the essential skills and then learning the approach to each and every question type. So here are the 4 steps that you need to follow. Number 1, read the first and the last sentence. Number 2, once you read the first and the last sentence, try to have an idea about the paragraph, like what the paragraph is about. Okay, so read the first and the last sentence and get an idea about the paragraph. Then, guys, that's why I predict what kind of heading is suitable. So think on your own what heading would be suitable. Then go through the headings and choose the suitable one. And underline the keywords and see if there are points supporting the heading in the middle of the paragraph. Okay, so once again, guys, read the first and the last sentence of the paragraph. Then think about what heading would be suitable for the paragraph. Then go through the list of headings, because with matching headings, you'll have a list of headings. So choose the heading which is suitable with your prediction, and then pay attention to keywords, okay? So now, guys, let's move on. Let's move on to the task. So look at the first sentence. Now, don't read the whole paragraph. Look at the first sentence. It says, many animals, including elephants, koalas, and giraffes, eat leaves for nourishment. Many animals, including elephants, koalas, and giraffes, eat leaves for nourishment. Leaf-covered branches keep many animals, such as birds and squirrels, out of the reach of predators. Okay? So many animals, including elephants, koalas, and giraffes, eat leaves for nourishment. So they eat leaves for nourishment. And the last one says, leaf-covered branches keep many animals such as birds and squirrels out of the reach of predators. Now pay attention to the name like elephants, koalas. Now these are animals that live in the wild. And the last sentence says, leaf-covered branches keep many animals such as birds and squirrels out of the reach of predators. Now based on these two sentences, think of a heading that is suitable. I've already given a small hint. So I see the answers coming. Well done. Well done. I already see the answers coming. And the correct answer here is B. It's B again. It's B again. Why? Now look at the first heading. It says, how trees reduce harmful elements in their natural surroundings. How trees reduce harmful elements, dangerous elements. Now, when you read this paragraph, do you see anything about how trees minimize, reduce harmful elements? No. Why animal eat leaves? And I see one person has suggested C, why animal eat leaves. Now you see, look at that heading, why they eat leaves. Now they eat leaves for nourishment. Maybe they eat leaves to look good. Do you see reasons in this paragraph related to why they eat leaves? No. But if you look in the middle of the paragraph, it says flowers are eaten by monkeys, right? Animals also eat much of the same fruit that we enjoy. Hundreds of living creatures call trees their homes. You see, so hundreds of living creatures call trees their home. So here, guys, the correct heading is how trees are useful for wildlife. So the technique I'm showing is a bit advanced. So always read the first and the last sentence. Try to understand what the paragraph could be about. Then, guys, based on that, choose the correct heading from the list. And once you choose the heading, pay attention to keywords. Now, here it says, how trees are useful for wildlife. And we see words like elephants, koalas, giraffes. They live in the wild, right? They are not domestic animals. They are not domestic animals, right? And also we see leaf-covered branches keep many animals, such as birds and squirrels, out of the reach of predators. So we really didn't have to read the whole paragraph. We don't have to. We can come to a conclusion based on the first sentence and the last sentence, you see? So that's why this technique is so important. So once again, in IELTS reading, when they structure paragraphs, they structure this accordingly. So that's why when you do practice tests, you need to make sure that they are from Cambridge IELTS. So that's also an important thing. Fine. So I hope it's clear. Let's move on to the next task. So here, guys, once again, pay attention to the first and the last sentence. Individual trees and shrubs have value and contribute to savings, but it is the collective influence of a well-maintained landscape that makes a real economic impact and has the greatest effect on property value. Trees properly placed around buildings can reduce air conditioning needs by 30% and save 20 to 50% in energy use for heating. So here, guys, it's about energy saving. So what could it be? Now you see, look everywhere. If you even look very quickly in the paragraph, we see savings, save. Reduce air conditioning needs by 30%. Now we all know that around the world, if we are using air conditioners on a regular basis, on a regular basis, it's going to be expensive, right? So think about those lines. Well done. Well done. So you see, you're getting the answers, right? You're getting the answers because I'm kind of showing you the correct approach. So yes, it is C. It is C. See how trees can save people's money. And as you can see, it says in the middle of the paragraph, direct economic benefits come from savings in energy costs. Cooling costs are reduced. So how trees can save people's money. Well done. Now, I hope the approach is clear. So this is the first stage where you become familiar with the approach. And with that, let's move on to the next one. Now, this is a different topic. It's not about trees. It's about organic food. Now, I'm going to keep quiet this time, and I want you all to follow the steps. Read the first and the last sentence. Okay, try to understand what the paragraph is about or make a prediction and choose the heading close to your prediction. Pay attention to the keywords and see if you can find some synonyms, key phrases in the middle of the paragraph. Okay. Now, once you make a choice, guys, once you choose a heading, see if you can find some key phrases in the middle of the paragraph. That is going to be important as well. Okay. That is going to be important as well. Well done. Well done. So I see the answers coming. It is B. It is B. The main reason for the popularity of organic food. Absolutely. Because the first sentence is Europe is now the biggest market for organic food in the world, expanding by 20% a year over the past 10 years. So, what is the attraction of organic food for some people? The real desire is to be somehow close to the soil, to Mother Nature. And then, guys, if you chose the second heading, B, here you see all the reasons. Like eating organic is a way of defining oneself as natural, good caring. You see, so different from the junk food scoffing masses. So here it's giving all those reasons. So that's why the approach is so important. Now, if you say, like, Nash, why do I need to read only the first and the last sentence? Can't I just read the whole paragraph word by word and then choose the right heading? It doesn't work like that. You're learning certain skills which would be important for you in your academic life, in your professional life. Let's say you're planning to move to Canada, or let's say to Australia, or maybe you're going to work for a company where you'll have to use English. And over there, guys, let's say you have to deal with documents. So you're not supposed to read the whole document word by word. Maybe you just need to skim read and get a general idea. IELTS is an exam where it really teaches you all the essential skills, believe me, for listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Quite often, people just focus on the exam and they look at it like, oh God, I need to pass this exam. Like, oh Jesus, please help me. I need to pass this exam. That attitude will never work. You need to enjoy the process, number one. Number two, you need to understand the real purpose. That is also quite important. Well done, guys. With that, let's move on to another one. Another one, okay? Again, it's related to organic food. Mm-hmm. Now, there are some key phrases at the end which would help you to choose the correct heading, by the way. Well done. Well done. Very good. So I see the answers coming. And I must say, fantastic. Exactly. So it is A. It is A, right? The first sentence is, organic farming is often claimed to be safer than conventional farming for the environment and for consumers. Even, the last sentence, even where results indicated there was evidence of a difference, the reviewers found no sign that these differences would have any noticeable effect on health. So, as you can see, guys, at the first heading, A, it says research into whether organic food is better for us. So that's the heading. But look at B, the need to remove hidden dangers from food doesn't make much sense. Adding up the cost of organic food, nothing about that. So it is definitely A. And if you look at the middle of the paragraph, it says, yet studies, right, into organic farming. Then actually an extensive review by the UK Food Standards Agency found that. So it's all about research into whether organic food is better for us. So you will never go wrong if you follow this approach. You will never go wrong. So remember, first and the last sentence, make a prediction, go through the list of headings, choose the correct heading, pay attention to keywords, right? And look for synonyms and some key phrases in the middle of the paragraph. So understand the heading better and see whether the heading truly reflects the paragraph. If you do that, it's going to be easier for you all. Fine. Now, let's move on. So I think we are done with matching headings. Now, guys, we are going to focus on identifying keywords. So I just showed you all the approach to skim reading, so how you should skim read a paragraph. Now, let's focus on identifying keywords. Now, when you read a sentence, when you read a question, and by the way, this is going to be important not just for reading, but also for listening, for writing, and even for speaking. But I don't have time to share everything today. But remember, when you read a sentence in IELTS, when you read a question, there are words which would be important for us to understand the question better. So what are keywords? So what words do you need to underline or highlight? Number one, numbers. Number two, adjectives. Number three, adverbs. Then ordinal numbers. Ordinal numbers means like the first, the second, the third, the fourth, and the fifth. Then verbs, and then the subject. So numbers, adjectives, adverbs, ordinal numbers, verbs, and the subject. So let me show you a few examples. Look at number one. It says, when was the first program released? Now that's the question. When was the first program released? Now, as you can see, guys, the keywords are like when, the first program, that's the ordinal number, the first, released. Now, once I underline those words, I know what to look for. I need to look for the date of the release of the first program. And when I see release like verbs, it's not going to be that obvious. They might use synonyms. So guys, instead of release, what words can be used? Can you give me some synonyms? Come on. Instead of release, like, the program was released. The movie was released. So instead of release, what synonyms do you know? Can you type? So while you're typing, I'm going to move on to the next one. It says, where is the biggest building located? Where is the biggest building located? So the keywords are where, biggest building located. So you see, superlatives like biggest, building located. So the location of the largest building. You see, you just need to work on paraphrasing as well. And released, yes, we can say to launch. The first program was launched, right? To launch or to release. So verbs are very important. You need to think about synonyms. That would be very helpful. Well done. Very good. So I see the answers. Well done. So how often do they meet in the city center? So how often do they meet in the city center? So the keywords are how often, meet, city center. So how frequent do they meet in the city center? So not on the outskirts, but exactly in the city center. So this is a very important thing. Quite often, students, they tend to overlook these important things and they just get the wrong answer. So that's why my advice would be, at the beginning, focus on understanding the questions better. So that's an important aspect. Fine. So which members of society benefited most from the healthy lifestyle approach, or during which decade were lifestyle risks seen as the major contributors to poor health? So during which decade? So you're looking for the decade. So these are the things that you all need to keep in mind. Fine, guys. So well done. Very good. So I'm just trying to show you, when you read questions, you need to highlight or identify keywords. This is an important skill. Fine. Now, let's move on to paraphrasing. So what is paraphrasing? Paraphrasing means to say the same thing in a different way, but you don't change the meaning, right? So to express the same meaning, but in a different way. So with a different approach. So when it comes to English, we can paraphrase with three components, like, with three ways. Number one, changing the word order in a sentence. You can change the word order. To do that, let's say you can use the passive voice, replacing certain words with synonyms. Or we can change the word form, like noun to its verb form, adjective to its adverb. So that is paraphrasing. So there are different ways, but the most important point here is that in IELTS reading, when you read a statement, when you read a question, try to say it in a different way. In English, okay? So try to say it in a different way. Try to rephrase it in your own words. This would help you to understand the statement or the question better. So always keep that in mind. Now, that's paraphrasing, guys. Now let's move on to scanning. Scanning means searching for specific phrases in the text to answer some questions. The questions in IELTS reading tests often include dates, names, numbers, new terms, or other keywords. So it's a very good idea to underline those keywords while reading. So you could find the answers in the text more easily. So I've already mentioned about identifying keywords, and based on that, you scan. So underline the important information while reading the text. And if you see that in a question, you have to look for dates, numbers, names, you just scan. You try to look for a name. You try to look for dates. You try to look for numbers. You see, so to look for numbers, you don't have to read the whole passage word by word. Now, I'll show you that a bit later, what I'm trying to say here. So I'll explain that a bit later. So you just scan for specific information, okay? So the most important part is to identify keywords. So guys, can we do this task? Look here, it says, how long did William Alexander spend learning French? So the keywords are, how long Alexander spent learning French. So how long Alexander spent learning French. So scan for the duration. Look for the words French. And can you tell me what is the answer here? What is the answer here? How long did he spend learning French? Like how many years, how many months? Scan for French. Don't read the whole passage, guys. Don't read the whole passage. Don't read the whole passage. Look for the word French and try to look for that information. Yes, so I see the answers coming. Well done. Well done. It's a no-brainer, right? It's a no-brainer. Exactly. 1 year. The correct answer is 1 year. You see? So I would not read the whole paragraph. I would look for French, spoke French. Like, I spoke French like a 3-year-old, says William Alexander, the writer, until I met a French 3-year-old and couldn't hold up my end of the conversation. This, he goes on to say, came after a year of intense study. Came after a year of intense study. So once you pay attention to the question, like how long William Alexander spent learning French, we look for the duration. Duration means how many years, right? So definitely the correct answer here is 1 year, like a year. So if you mention 1 year, a year, that is correct. So the correct answer is a year, 1 year. Well done. Very good. Now, we have understood what is skim reading, paraphrasing, identifying keywords, and scanning. Now, with that said, let's move on to some serious tasks, okay? We're going to do a bit of true, false, not given. Now, in IELTS reading, guys, there are different types of questions. We have matching headings, true, false, not given, multiple choice questions, completing a summary. Then we have actually finding information from the paragraph. Then we have matching questions. So there are mainly 8 types. Yes, no, not given. So if you have your exam tomorrow, you can't be just doing practice tests today. Listen to me carefully. If you have your exam tomorrow, let's say next week, you can't be just doing practice tests. You should be aware of the approach to every question type. Now, that's an important part, okay? So you need to know the approach to each and every question type. So let's move on, okay? So here, guys, we're going to focus on how to answer true, false, not given. So pay attention to these steps. If you want, you can write it down or maybe take a screenshot. I'm pretty sure it would be useful. So step 1, read the statement carefully and identify the keywords. Now, remember, keywords are adjectives, adverbs, name, the verb, right? If there are superlatives, ordinal numbers, pay attention to that. Paraphrase the statement based on your own words. So once you read the statement, rephrase it. And then, guys, based on the keywords, maybe it could be a name, maybe it could be a date, locate the information. Locate the information and see whether the statement is true, false, not given. Okay, so let's start with this one. Okay, now I'm going to ask a question and I want everyone to answer. Okay, look at the statement. It says, Marie Curie's husband was a joint winner of both Maria's Nobel Prizes. So the keywords are Marie Curie's husband, joint winner, both Nobel Prizes. Those are the keywords. And I'm going to rephrase it. They won 2 Nobel Prizes together. That's rephrasing. They won 2 Nobel Prizes together. Now, based on that, I want you all to look for this information. And remember, guys, scan for Nobel Prize, husband, Nobel Prize. Where can you find this information about the husband and Nobel Prize? Is it in the first paragraph or in the second paragraph? Everyone would agree that we can find this information in the first paragraph. Okay, so read carefully only the sentences that mention Nobel Prize. Read carefully the sentences that mention the Nobel Prize. Read carefully. The statement says, Marie Curie's husband was a joint winner of both Maria's Nobel Prize. That means, like, they won 2 Nobel Prizes together. Now, don't rush. Well done. So the answers are coming. I see it. Very good. Here it says that was twice a winner of the Nobel Prize with her husband, Pierre Curie, and Henry. She was awarded the 1903 Nobel Prize for Physics and was then sole winner. Sole winner means the only winner, right? Sole winner means the only winner of the 1911 Nobel Prize for Chemistry. So, yes, the correct answer here is false. It's not true. It is false. Well done. So did you understand, guys, these steps? Don't just get confident by getting the answers right. That is good. Be happy. But also don't try to be too critical if you got it wrong. Focus on the strategy. Focus on the approach. That's the most important part when you're preparing, when you're learning. Techniques are very important. So you read the statement, you identify keywords. So keywords are Marie Curie husband, joint winner, both Nobel Prizes. You scan for this information, and there are names like Nobel Prize, husband, easy to locate the info. You don't have to read the whole passage to find this information. That's why you scan. Nobel Prize, husband. Then you read those lines. So well done. Well done. Very good. Now, with that said, please don't rush. Listen to me carefully. Here we have two statements. The second one, Mari became interested in science when she was a child. Keywords are became interested in science, child, like when she was a child. That means she was passionate about science during her childhood. You see, I'm paraphrasing it, you see. Mari was able to attend the Sorbonne because of her sister's financial contribution. So the thing is, guys, look for childhood and see whether this statement is true. And then look for the third statement. And here we have names, Sorbonne, okay? Sister. Look for those names, sister, Sorbonne. And the second statement, guys, it says that, that the sister helped her financially to study in this university. So please do these tasks, like, try to answer based on what you can find, whether it is true or false. So Mari became interested in science when she was a child. That means she was passionate. She was really into science. And the third one says Mari was able to attend the Sorbonne because of her sister's financial contribution. Now, the thing is, guys, let's say, like, you found the information for the third statement here. I know there are only two, but we have the third statement in the second paragraph. And for the second statement, if you can't find anything before that, then maybe it also could be an answer. So I'll explain that a bit later, but I do see the answers coming. Look for the information about sister and Sorbonne, both, okay? This third one, like Mari was able to attend the Sorbonne because of her sister's financial contribution. Read carefully, because some of y'all got it right. Some of y'all didn't get it right, actually. So what should be the answer? Well, yes. For the first one, or for the second statement here, the answer is not given. So if you got it right, yes, it's not given. But for the second one, it is true. It is true. Why? Look at the sentences which I've highlighted in green. It says, from her earnings, she was able to finance her sister Bronier's medical studies in Paris, on the understanding that Bronier would, in turn, later help her to get an education. Okay? So in 1891, this promise was fulfilled, and Maria went to Paris and began to study at the Sorbonne, the University of Paris. You see, so from her earnings, she was able to finance the sisters Bronier's medical studies in Paris on the understanding. So here, on the understanding means on the agreement that Bronier would, in turn, later help her to get an education. You see, so that's why in 1891, this promise was fulfilled, and Marie went to Paris and began to study at the Sorbonne. Now, I already mentioned that the keyword Sorbonne, the name of the university, and sister, right? So you should have read both the paragraphs here. And for the second one, like Marie became interested in science when she was a child, it's not given, because here it says from childhood, Marie was remarkable for her prodigious memory, and at the age of 16, won a gold medal on completion of secondary education. So nothing about her passion, her interest towards science, right? So it's not given. And also, guys, remember, you'll be having the statements together. So if you can't find anything for the second statement, if you found something for the third statement, like what we have here, so the second statement is not given. And the statements are in the same order. So, they are sequenced accordingly. So, for example, you can find the answer for the first statement in the first paragraph, second statement in the second paragraph, third statement from the third paragraph. So don't worry, you don't have to go back. You just need to find the answer, you just need to read further. So that's something that you all should keep in mind. Fine. So what did we understand? We have understood that it's important to master the 4 essential skills at the beginning. That means skim reading, scanning, identifying keywords, and paraphrasing. The biggest problem nowadays, I'm not trying to criticize, but I'm telling you this with facts, that quite often students are just asked to do practice test. And even the teacher doesn't understand what they are doing. I mean, teachers don't understand what they are doing. And actually, that's why students become confused. But if you look at the official guidelines, and unfortunately, even certain Cambridge textbooks, they don't teach that. First, you need to master the essential skills. Then you need to learn the approach to every question type. And only then, guys, you need to focus on exam practice questions. Our students have been very successful with their performance for the past 10 years. And this is not only in Russia, but also in Dubai. Then also we have students from Asia. We also have students from Africa, especially from Nigeria. And, all of them, they have performed significantly well. And the reason is, guys, the way we kind of teach the essential skills. Now, let's move on to essay writing. My main goal today is to show you all the structure of writing an essay, okay? So I'm not going to go on to grammatical points or into many details, but I'm just going to focus on the essential things that you should know, how you should structure your paragraphs. So let me check what you know, your knowledge, okay? So before we do that, the aim would be to understand the overall structure, how to write an introduction, how to write supporting paragraphs, and how to write a conclusion. So what do you think? Are these statements true or false? Now, if you're preparing for IELTS, what do you know about IELTS reading, especially task 2 essay writing? Here it says, A, your essay should have a minimum of 4 clearly defined paragraphs. Introduction, 2 supporting paragraphs, and a conclusion. A minimum. I'm not saying the maximum. Your essay should have a minimum of 4 clearly defined paragraphs, an introduction, 2 supporting paragraphs, and a conclusion. Is this true? B, each supporting paragraph should not focus on a single clear argument and be developed with relevant reasons and examples. Is this true? B, C, in your conclusion, restate the main points. D, the introduction should serve as the roadmap to your essay, indicating what the reader can expect. So if you can just type A, true or false, B, true or false, C, true or false, D, true or false. Okay. So I see the answers coming. So we are focusing on task 2 essays, right? Task 2. It's not task 1, academic writing or general writing. Well done. Well done. So I think I see the answers coming. Well done. So guys, let me just explain. A, your essay should have a minimum of 4 clearly defined paragraphs, an introduction, 2 supporting paragraphs, and a conclusion. Yes. Yes. So the examiner would look for that. Now, that's going to be very important for coherence and cohesion. The examiner would check if there are 4 defined paragraphs, introduction, 2 supporting paragraphs or body paragraphs, and a conclusion. Then each supporting paragraph should not focus on a single clear argument. That is a mistake. So each supporting paragraph should have 1 clear argument, and that should reflect the whole paragraph. So in your conclusion, restate the main points. The introduction should serve as the roadmap to your essay, indicating what the reader can expect. So well done, guys. So I think you have understood. So now let's try to look at a model essay. Let's try to look at a model essay and get a rough idea. Now look at the essay question. It says, public transport is widely used in many large cities around the world. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages of public transport in big cities. Use specific examples and details to support your argument. So it's about public transport is widely used in many large cities around the world. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages of public transport in big cities. Use specific examples and details to support your argument. So reading and understanding the essay question, it's important to carefully read and identify three components of the essay question. Number one, what is the topic? It's about public transport, right? It's about public transport in big cities. What is the viewpoint? It says public transport is a common commuting method in big cities worldwide. What is the question? Discuss the advantages and disadvantages of public transport in big cities. So here, guys, what you need to understand is that once you read an essay question, you need to understand what is the topic, what is the viewpoint, and what is the task, what you should do. So that's an important thing. So once you understand the topic, you can think about specific vocabulary. Once you understand the viewpoint, you can think about ideas to develop your points. And then, guys, the question would show you what is the purpose. So these are the things that you need to pay attention to. And also, guys, what I want to mention here is that for task 2 essay writing, you have 40 minutes, right? So make sure to spend 10 minutes on planning, 25 minutes on writing your essay, and spend 5 minutes on checking. So remember the formula, 10, 25, 5. If you don't spend 10 minutes properly on planning, then you won't be able to write a very good essay. So that's why if you're starting to prepare now itself, you need to understand how to manage your time effectively. So we always ask our students in our programs, in our expert course, when they write and submit their essays, to mention how much time they spent. And based on that, we also give advice. So we ask students like, where did you go wrong? Where did you spend most of the time? Maybe it could be on planning. Maybe it could be on writing. Maybe they didn't come up with the right ideas. So these things would be important as well. Now, once you understand the task, the essay question, you can write a nice introduction. So your introduction should act as a roadmap for your essay. Okay, so your introduction should act as a roadmap for your essay, outlining its structure. We recommend following these components when writing an introduction. So background sentence. Now, the background sentence could be something about public transport in big cities. Then detailed background sentence, you kind of introduce, maybe it could be an issue, it could be a viewpoint, it could be a situation. So detailed background sentence reflects the statement of the question, like, the viewpoint from the question, the detailed background sentence. Then the thesis statement would show what you have to do. Now, for the thesis statement, if it's an opinion essay, you would give your opinion. If it's a discussion essay, you would show 2 viewpoints, right? And then the outline sentence would show what you're supposed to do or what you're going to do for the examiner. What is your purpose of writing this essay? Now, based on that, here we have the structure. Like, public transport is a key commuting method in many major cities worldwide. Detailed background sentence. It plays a vital role in transporting residents through the large urban areas using a wide range of buses, subways, and other forms of transit. Thesis statement. Although public transport is appreciated for its affordability and convenience, it also deals with issues like overcrowding and variable service quality. Outline sentence. This essay will examine the advantages and disadvantages of public transport in large cities, providing examples and reason arguments to support the discussion. So like I said, guys, it's not like you should always follow this approach, but this would give a clear idea how you would structure the rest of your essay for the examiner. So that's why we have a background sentence, detailed background sentence, thesis statement, and an outline sentence. Now, what you need to do is that once you write your introduction, you need to develop your supporting paragraphs. And to do that, you need to think about the advantages and the disadvantages. So here we have the whole introduction. You can read it, right? So public transport is a key commuting method in many major cities worldwide. It plays a vital role in transporting residents through large urban areas using a wide range of buses, subways, and other forms of transit. Although public transport is appreciated for its affordability and convenience, it also deals with issues like overcrowding and variable service quality. Now, as you can see, guys, I have already mentioned the advantages in my introduction. And if I do that, I need to develop my supporting paragraphs based on these points. So quite often students just say like, I will discuss the advantages and disadvantages. That's okay. I'm not saying it's critical, but if you can mention what are the reasons, or here, what are the advantages and the disadvantages, and if you can develop your paragraphs based on that, it would be great. It would be wonderful, okay? Now, guys, think about how to structure your paragraphs. Now here, I'm just showing some general ideas. So for the first paragraph, start with a clear topic sentence about the first advantage. Provide reasons and a specific example. Then introduce and elaborate on the second advantage with reasons and an example, and then conclude the paragraph with a nice summary. Then for the second paragraph, begin with a clear topic sentence about the first disadvantage, discuss reasons and provide examples, mention the second disadvantage with reasons and examples, then conclude the paragraph. The common mistakes are students fail to give examples and they fail to develop their advantages and their disadvantages with proper reasons. So that's why you need to understand how to develop your paragraphs accordingly. Now, with that said, look at this first paragraph. So topic sentence, advantage. Among the numerous advantages of public transport, cost effectiveness stands out prominently. Then, it is considerably more affordable than maintaining a private vehicle. Then you think about an example. For example, a study in Britain showed that individuals could reduce their commuting costs by up to 10 times by opting for public transport over personal car ownership. Then you introduce the second advantage, yes. Furthermore, public transport often proves to be the most practical means of commuting, right? Especially during rush hours. Then you kind of give an example, then you give a concluding sentence. So I know that the fonts are very small here, so I'm going to move on to the first supporting paragraph. But what I'm trying to show here is that how you should structure. Now, based on that, your first supporting paragraph could be the following. Like, among the numerous advantages of public transport, cost effectiveness stands out prominently. It is considerably more affordable than maintaining a private vehicle. So give reasons for that advantage. Then give an example. For example, a study in Berlin showed that individuals could reduce their commuting costs by up to 10 times by opting for public transport over personal car ownership. Furthermore, public transport often proves to be the most practical means of commuting, especially during the rush hours. Taking the subway, for instance, frequently emerges as the quickest way to reach one's destination punctually. These factors contribute to the widespread preference for public transport in many large cities. So guys, maybe it's a bit advanced, or maybe it's not advanced for you. Maybe it's a piece of cake. Maybe it is challenging at the moment. But the main purpose today is to understand the structure. That means when you write your paragraphs, it should be developed accordingly. That means every point should have a reason and example. So here, if you have two advantages, both the advantages should have proper explanation, like reasons and examples. And the last sentence, as you can see, like these factors contribute to the widespread preference for public transport in many large cities. A nice conclusion. So that's how you need to develop your paragraphs. Now let's move on to the second supporting paragraph. Okay, so here, obviously, it's going to be the paragraph with disadvantages. So topic centers disadvantage. Despite its many benefits, public transport in large cities is not without its challenges, notably overcrowding and reliability issues. Then, guys, we have an example with, explanation with an example. Then the second disadvantage, example with an explanation, and a concluding sentence. I'm just showing the structure. Now, with that, guys, this is how your second supporting paragraph would look like. Like, despite its many benefits, public transport in large cities is not without its challenges, notably overcrowding and dependability issues. Commuters often face cramped conditions during peak hours, which not only compromises comfort, but also raises health and safety concerns, a scenario evident in metros like Tokyo and New York, where packed vehicles are a common sight. So alongside, the reliability of public transport systems frequently falls short of expectations. And then that's the second disadvantage. Delays, cancellations, and erratic schedules, worsened by weather and maintenance issues, significantly disrupt passengers, eroding their trust in these services. These combined factors, overcrowding and unpredictability, highlight the pressing need for improvements in public transport to maintain its appeal as a viable commuting option. So my main goal today is to show you all that whenever you come up with your points, focus on giving reasons and examples, guys. Number one. Number two, sequence them. Like firstly, secondly, right? Or besides, use the right linkers to connect your ideas. Because quite often, students struggle not because they are making mistakes with grammar and vocabulary. They just structure their ideas poorly. They don't develop their points accordingly. So even today, I had a student, I had to show him. So he doesn't prepare with us, but he wanted a consultation. And the main point is that he's trying to complicate things. You see, so this is a common issue. I even had a student in 2014, a lady who had taken IELTS 17 times, not 5 times, 17 times. And the main reason was not following the official guidelines, guys. That's it. And, watches YouTube, pause for different information, and then comes and tells us like, I learned this, I heard this is wrong. Please don't do that. Just stick to the official guidelines, get to know what the examiner really wants to see, and deliver. That's it. Keep it simple. So guys, when you write a conclusion, make sure to restate the points, okay? Make sure to restate the points. So here, in conclusion, public transport offers significant benefits as an affordable and practical means for navigating cities, especially during busy times. Yet, its full potential is hindered by concerns related to space constraints and reliability. Overcoming these obstacles could elevate its appeal, leading to wider adoption among urban populations in the years ahead. So here, guys, you restate again the advantages and the disadvantages, and then you kind of mention that still it will be very important. It will still remain popular or the most used transport method, right? So what did we do? When you read an essay question, pay attention to 3 components. Identify 3 components: topic, the viewpoint, and the question. Then, once you understand these components, try to think about an introduction, background sentence about the topic, detailed background sentence, rephrase the statement of the question. Thesis, if it's an opinion essay, give your opinion. If it's about advantages and disadvantages, mention the advantages and the disadvantages that you would discuss in your essay. Then outline sentence, the purpose. You can say this essay would analyze both sides, would discuss both viewpoints, or maybe would support my view with relevant reasons and examples. Then make sure that each paragraph has a clear topic sentence and the whole paragraph should reflect that topic sentence. And when you write your conclusion, restate the main points. Now, that is something that you all should keep in mind. So that's it, guys. So remember, we summarized the approach, and now I'm going to move on to some misconceptions. Now, quite often, students believe that IELTS is a very difficult exam. Let me be very honest, it's not, unless we make it difficult. So if you follow an effective method, you can achieve a high score in your first attempt. Nowadays, especially in Russia, you know that we are not able to pass IELTS in Russia. So we are the only organization in Russia where we have a connection with an exam center abroad in Kazakhstan. So we support our students. And why I'm mentioning this is that, you know, nowadays, especially for my Russian students, it's not a gamble. Like, you know, they really need to achieve the required score on their first attempt because they have to go to another country. So that's a extra expense. So we make sure students achieve their required score on their first attempt, and also want to show them that the exam is not difficult, provided they follow official guidelines. The misconception too, you need to be extremely fluent to achieve a band 7 and higher. Fluency is important, but at the same time, remember that you still can achieve a 7. We've had so many students if you work on your weak areas. So you just need to start, you need to assess your current level. So by the way, guys, we have a free assessment system. So that's why we would ask you all to register for a free individual consultation. So the link is given below. So please click the link below and join a free individual consultation. So our consultants would guide you through. So make sure to take a grammar test, share your plans, and we can individually help you out. So I think it's going to be a useful, it's going to be beneficial for you all. So make sure to kind of, register for a free consultation. Then third one, guys, you need to prepare for more than 1 year to prepare successfully. We've had students who have achieved 8, 7.5 on their first attempt after 5 weeks of preparation. And we have students, they have prepared for 3 months and they have achieved their desired score. But of course, here, your dedication matters. So you have to be committed. So that's an important point as well. So guys, the road to achieve a band 7, it's not about joining our courses. So make sure to kind of, pay attention to this. This is the proven path. These are the official guidelines. For listening and reading, master the 4 essential skills. Now for listening, we also have 4 essential skills: paraphrasing, identifying keywords, predicting the missing words. So when you have to complete a sentence, you need to fill in the gaps. So predict the missing words. And then also you have to pay attention to distractors. Then learn the approach to each question type and focus on practicing with test. Okay, so that's the approach. That's the approach. It's important. And for writing, guys, of course, before writing an essay, improve your grammar skills. If you have issues with articles and punctuation, you need to work on that. Become familiar with different types of sentences, like simple, compound, and complex. Learn how to make your writing style formal. Learn to use linkers effectively. Learn how to structure paragraphs. Become familiar with different types of essays and expand your vocabulary. So those things would be important as well, okay? So I would ask you to focus on the essential skills before you write essays. And then, guys, if you're taking academic IELTS, you need to know how to write descriptions for comparative graphs, graphs with trends, maps, and processes. And for general IELTS, you need to know how to write formal letters, semi-formal letters, and informal letters. And for speaking, guys, remember, you need to learn how to paraphrase while speaking, learn to use complex structures such as conditionals, expand your vocabulary with uncommon words and idiomatic expressions, learn how to answer different types of questions, and become familiar with the format. So these are the things that you all should know. And this is the syllabus, right? Because we all want to know the roadmap, right? We need to know the exact path we should take. Because you can watch hundreds of YouTube videos, you can listen to different guidelines, but what if they really don't work? What guarantee do you have? It has to be objective and it has to be proven. So that's why we have our IELTS expert course. If you want to make things easier, if you want to kind of follow a guide which has already helped over 4,000 students, more than 3,000 students in Russia. And already now we are like an international organization. So we also have foreign students preparing with us. So it has helped so many students because we have a structured approach. The expert course has 2 stages. Stage 1, foundations and essential skills. Stage 2, practice and flexibility. What does it mean? So during the first stage, it's going to be for 5 weeks, listening and reading. Each lesson focuses on an essential skill and an approach to a specific question type. Writing, during the first stage, that means 5 weeks, we will teach you how to structure paragraphs. But today I didn't do that. I just showed you all the structure. So how to structure paragraphs, how to make your writing style formal. Because when you write, you can't say like, people follow a poor diet because they don't have time. It should be the lack of time is the root cause to follow a poor diet. How to use complex structures, how to use linkers effectively, how to paraphrase skillfully, and how to become familiar with different types of essays. And for speaking, learn how to paraphrase, how to master essential idioms, because to achieve a 7, you need to know how to use idioms and understand how to answer WH questions. If you go through the speaking question, there are what, why, who. So you learn how to answer WH questions, become familiar with tenses, and learn how to use conditionals. So these are the essential skills that you need to remember. Now, once you are familiar, once you learn all these skills, we move on to stage 2, another 5 weeks. So listening and reading now, during the second stage, we focus on exam practice questions, and you'll be at a level where you'll be familiar with the question types and how to approach them. So here, guys, you'll be more flexible. You won't feel lost because you've already covered all the essential skills during stage 1. And quite often, I am the teacher for listening and reading, and I'm pretty sure you will find it useful if you found my session useful today. Writing, you will learn how to structure paragraphs, how to make your writing style formal, how to use complex structures, how to use linkers effectively, how to paraphrase skillfully, and become familiar with different types of essays. So here, guys, we focus on all the essay types. So the syllabus will be covered. Everything would be covered. And speaking, each lesson, we focus on how to paraphrase. Again, we focus on idioms. So everything that you learned during stage 2 would be covered in everything that learned during stage 1, would be covered in stage 2. You see, so that's the main idea of stage 2. So you learn, you practice, you implement, you assess. So after completing the second stage, you'll be taking the mock exam. So it's also included in the program. So you'll be taking the mock exam and we'll be assessing your progress. Sometimes some students would perform exceptionally well during the mock exam. And there are students who might find a particular section challenging. Maybe they might not perform that well. It could be writing, it could be speaking, it could be listening, or it could be reading. So what we do is after the mock exam, we assess their progress and we will support them free of charge. So it's all included in the package. So that's why we say it's going to be for 12 weeks. So it's going to be 10 weeks of preparation, 11th week mock exam, 12th week additional support. And sometimes we also invite students for extra sessions, extra speaking, and everything that we provide extra would be free of charge. Also, guys, we have the platform. So it's going to be for 6 months. It's included in the program. It is not complimentary. It is not a gift. It's not a bonus. It is obligatory. It's compulsory that you work on the platform during the program. So each week you need to spend 2 to 3 hours. So there are video lessons by me, by our teachers. So you'll be parallelly revising and also learning more essential skills on the platform. So that's how the platform would be useful. So that's our expert course. It's a comprehensive coverage of essential skills, structured and progressive approach, emphasis on both foundational knowledge and practical application. And also it's quite flexible in a sense like, you'll be preparing at your own pace on the platform. Parallelly, you'll be attending the sessions. In case you can't make it, you can freeze the program. You can actually join another group, or maybe, for example, you can watch the recordings in case you can't really make it. So we are always flexible and we are quite understanding. So we always want to support our students and make sure that the preparation is going to be effective. So we also have the Express program. So compared to the Express program is going to be for 5 weeks, whereas the Expert is actually altogether would be for 12 weeks. And the Express would be great for those who have an upper intermediate advanced level or ideal for retakers. So the difference between Expert and Express, listening and reading, with the Expert course, each lesson is dedicated to a question type and an essential skill. Express, we focus on exam practice questions, but we will teach you how to approach different question types based on exam practice questions. For speaking, guys, you see, the Expert program also helps you to improve your grammar skills. For example, to use complex structures, to use conditionals, to use linkers. So, we work on all those skills that the examiner would look for. Whereas the Express, we focus on different parts because we have 3 parts, part 1, part 2, and part 3. And we will teach you how to approach or how to answer different types of questions based on the parts. And for writing, guys, for the Express program, we will teach you how to write different essays like reason solution, discussion, 2 questions, opinion. But as you know, with the Expert, we also teach you the essential skills. So these are the programs we have. Like I said, register for a free individual consultation. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a great investment. It's going to be an enlightening session. So it's going to be for free. So you'll be taking a grammar test. We'll be assessing your level. We would even assess your speaking and writing skills. And we would say, like, where you stand now, what would be your score now if you sit for the exam, and what you could get, if you have proper guidelines. So it's not that, we're trying to promote our courses. We just want to be helpful with our channels. So if you're interested in this, please make sure to register for the program. So guys, we also have a fantastic team. So we have Tahmuraz, who's a TEFL certified specialized in speaking. We have Diana and Olga. We also have Alexander, Alex, Yana, and myself as our IELTS trainers. So guys, that's it for today. So do you have questions? I can take a few questions related to IELTS and preparation. So in case you have questions, you can type, and I would be more than happy to answer your questions. Okay. So guys, sign up for a free consultation. In case you have extra questions, you can discuss with our consultants or with a teacher. So if you want to grab that opportunity, please go ahead, sign up, and we are looking forward to helping you. Great, guys. Also, we also have Alexander, Alex, Yana, and okay, so if you have questions related to IELTS, about the format, about UKVI, about some things that you got to know, you can raise your questions and I'll be happy to answer. In case you guys don't have questions, then I think it's time for us to say goodbye. I hope you guys found this session useful. And great, guys. So have a great day then. Wish you guys all the very best. Make sure to kind of write it down, like, I have achieved a 7.5. Have clear goals. Feel as if you have already achieved it and work towards your goal. And I'm pretty sure you will all achieve a very high score. So guys, until I see you again, have a great day and take care. Goodbye. Thank you very much.